Mountain Dew.
That's all I had.
No white monsters.
No, I'm gone. Fresh out.
I need to buy a car.
Monster's no good for you, man. That stuff ruins my guts.
Yeah.
We run on here.
Yeah, very much, as you can see by the massive collection of cans.
Oh, I didn't even notice
And
that.
I can confirm it ruins their guts as well.
Was that a pun intended? Can confirm.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well done.
Unintended.
I'm always onto these things.
Welcome back to the Intersect Podcast, the number one tradie podcast in Australia. We've got a very different guest on for today, and I'm just super excited to fucking just dive straight into this one. So, Lenny, good mate, good. Give us a bit of a backstory on you and what you're doing.
Yeah, well, at the moment I'm cycling what's called a recumbent trike around Australia. It's basically a lounge chair on wheels, three-wheeled thing where you lay back and you pedal forwards. So I'm about 9,000 Ks in, and I'm doing this for mental health research, raising money for the Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation based in Adelaide, and they work closely with Flinders University, and they're trying to get early interventions in place for mental health issues and stuff. And I started this journey probably 5 years ago. I lost one of my best mates, Dippa, to suicide, and we were shearers together. So I'm an ex-shearer. I don't shear anymore, but my ex-cactus. But back then we did what's called a shearathon. Me and a friend, Declan Hardy Corby, got together and we shore sheep for a 24-hour period and raised $45,000 almost for mental health research. So my back's cactus, and I still wanted, I still had a passion for mental health and raising awareness and get people talking about, their issues and that. So, yeah, I just come up with this idea one night with the boys about riding a bike around Australia, and they said I couldn't do it. So here I am, about 9,000 Ks in. Yeah.
Wouldn't that happen to be over a few bevies, was it, with the boys?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
How all good ideas start.
Way too many red tins. And, they said I couldn't do it. There's a few choice words thrown around, and I just said, well, righto, here we go.
Yeah.
And I had a Facebook group called Doin It For Dippa, and there's about 1,200 members in the group then, and I just told them, and sort of, you can't really tell the world and then go back on it, can you?
Yeah.
I woke up dusty with vague recollections of something stupid mentioned, and I got reminded pretty quick. So here I am.
So what was it? What actually made you get on that three-wheeled lounge chair, as you called it?
Well, like I say, I did the shearathon thing about 4.5 years ago, and I just felt I wasn't done trying to help people. I had such a positive outcome from that, and like I say, we raised nearly $45,000 in 24 hours. So, you can't knock that. There's obviously a positive thing there. So, I understood I wasn't finished, but my shearing career was. So, I just remembered when I was about 9, used to live in Leederville down in Perth. There was an old fella in the neighbourhood had one, and I just that's cool, man. It's really cool. But obviously, inner child comes out after a few bevies, and I said to the boys, I showed them a picture and everything. I got one up on Google. I'm like, I want to ride one of these around Australia. It's going to be cool. And they're like, no, you won't. You won't.
No, you won't fucking do that.
You won't. Not at all. So, here I am, nearly 9,500 Ks in. Yeah.
A lot of kilometres, man.
It is. Yes. Turns out Australia's got a few hills too, here and there.
I think so. Yeah, maybe a few.
Tasmania?
Yeah.
I did do that. I'd never been there before, and I'd seen photos though. It looks beautiful, and it's snow up there. Didn't put two and two together really, thinking about that. Snow equals altitude equals hills.
Less oxygen, yeah.
You've less oxygen when you're gasping trying to push 100 Ks up a hill sitting on your bum. So it's
I've driven around Tasmania, and that was hell. Just having in a manual car, just having to change gears on slopes. I can't imagine doing it on this bike thing.
Yeah, well, I'm not really well known for thinking about things before and go. I'll open my mouth and then I'll think, what did I do there? But I've got to back it up. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so. The first time you went to Tassie was
on a bike,
riding the bike.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I hadn't ridden a bike since I was about 15, didn't even know if I could still ride a bike. And I got onto this. I'd never even sat on one of these things. So I didn't know what they were like. And yeah, I think I got it. So it was only about 2 months out from leaving when I got the bike, actually. So I got to ride it, get a bit of practice up, and so it was basically training on the job for me. The first day in, I was 68 Ks after a bit of an all-nighter catching up with the crew before I left, and 15 minutes in, I had mad cramps all up and down my legs. I was like, shit, what have I done?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it. What have I done?
I mean, look, sometimes the best things to do is to not think about it too deep and just go for it. And then you learn as you're going.
100%, yeah.
It's just
jump in the deep end, yeah. Otherwise, you think too much about it, you probably back out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I mean, especially fucking riding around Australia, that shit's scary. And then with all the like road trains and quads and all that type of shit.
Yeah, and getting up this way, I've noticed I'm starting to get into the ones with the big 4 trailers and that. I've seen them heading into the port. So, that's a fair bit more to deal with.
Yeah.
My head sitting on that thing, my head's about wheel nut height on the road trains, so it's it's a little bit daunting.
So scary.
Imagine 100 sets of tyres going over. Jesus.
Yeah. It's something, especially in Tasmania, there wasn't like you've been to Tasmania, obviously. You know how narrow some of those roads can be and windy, and then you got a logging truck coming down the other way towards you, and you got 3 or 4 cars piled up behind you. It's like, oh man, where do I go? Yes. So it's quite interesting.
Mate, I can see that there's a question brewing in that brain of yours.
Yes. I wanted to get into, you mentioned you had a large group from the Shearathon already of 1,200 members.
It was 1,200 members at the time when I made the call to drive around Australia. Now I'm sitting on about a bit over 2,700.
Jesus, so you're nearing the 3,000 mark.
Yeah, working up towards it. I seem to keep getting new members almost daily, so it's really cool. It's
Does that give you like constant motivation to keep going?
Mate,
essentially,
there's no better motivation, and just random messages and stuff from people I've never even met, just members of the group or someone that knows what I'm up to, and it's just things like that from someone I've never met to message me, take the time and thank me for what I'm doing and tell me it's helping them. It's mind blowing. It's so humbling. It's that's an amazing motivation for sure.
And would you say they're your biggest supporters in this, or are there other people backing you?
Yeah, just random people I meet travelling through. I get so much love from a lot of people. Even people because on the back of my bus, I've got a little old Toyota Hilux 12-seater school bus, and that's all been painted up. Got the big blue tree on one side and all stickers down the other side. Lots of people have signed the blue tree, and on the back I've written Cycling Australia, raising awareness for suicide and mental health. And quite a few times people have read that, or I've been stopped in town, or they've been driving behind me, and they've come up to me, like for instance, one day I was in Victoria somewhere. I can't remember the name of the town, but I was parked outside the post office. It was lunchtime. I'm just getting a bit of fluids into me, sweating and sitting in the side of the bus, and this lady's come up. She was already in tears, and she handed me a $20 note, give me a bit of a hug, and her son had taken his life at, I think, 14. And she was just in town. She lived out of town. She was just there to get her mail, and that day happened to be her son's birthday, and she just happened to be in town the exact time I was there, and she could barely speak, but for her to come at that point in time feeling the way she did, to thank me and give me a wee hug, make a donation, that's it's a beautiful thing. It was quite obviously really, really hard for her, to speak, and she had to take off. She couldn't, it was just overwhelmed her, you know what I mean? And
that makes me want to cry. Fuck yeah.
Well, I'm holding back the tears
incredible.
now. It is. There's been a lot of tear-jerking moments for sure, and that's just one of many.
Yeah.
And it is. It's hard to not cry yourself.
Suicide, unfortunately, is one of those things where you can try as hard as you can, but if the person's in that darkest point, there's not much that can get them out of it.
No, that's right.
Like I was speaking to you before, like my dad and his alcohol thing, he's tried to top himself multiple times. Luckily he hasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, like suicide, it's no joke. And like we can joke about it and we can bring light to it, but deep down it's fucking sad, and
It is,
it needs to change. And it's not just like men's mental health, and it's not just women's, it's everyone's mental health.
100%.
So that, like, if someone were to ever come up to me, bro, I would cry with them. They'd give me $20, I'd give them $20 back and fucking give them a hug and cry and, you know, fucking cry, vomit and do like whatever, because it's sad. It's so sad.
It is. It's a different type of grief. You know what I mean? Like, you know, let's say cancer or car accident or heart attack. There's an explanation. There's a why with suicide. There's so many questions left unanswered. And there's always that, especially the people closest, like, why didn't I see? What could I have done? And that's probably the worst thing you can do to yourself as well after someone that you loved has gone that way, you know? I mean, I found myself like that with my uncle. He was the first person I knew that took his own life. And he was like a father to me. He took me in. My own real father, he's not a good person, you know? And this fella, he took me under his wing. And I got angry when he did it. I didn't understand it. And my mate Dippa was probably 5 years later, 5 or 6. And I just sort of, there's got to be something more to it. I started looking into it, and I came up with the idea of the shearathon. It was about 6 months later, and I asked his wife, Simon's wife was Eloise, still is, you know. And I asked her where she'd like, when she agreed to the idea, I asked where she'd like the funds to go, any sort of particular foundation. And that's when she came up with the Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation. That was someone that Simon had closely followed and really liked. So I chose them, and that's when I started talking to them. And they do a lot of mental health first aid courses and get them out into the workplace, into different industries and companies. And they were giving free ones on Kangaroo Island because it was not long after big fires over there as well. So there's a lot of people struggling. And I went and did that 2-day course over a weekend, and it was a big eye-opener. I learned a lot about myself as well as, you know, the mental health thing. Like for instance, I always thought I was a shy person. My mates used to laugh at me, like, you're not shy. Turns out I was anxiety, really bad. I just didn't understand what anxiety was. It took me till I was 43 years of age to realise that I was just you know, mad anxiety, and that's why I struggled getting out in public places, meeting new people and things like that.
How have you felt with the anxiety? Because you would meet a lot of new people.
Yeah.
Has that helped with your mental health? With your anxiety?
I think it has a bit, yeah. Because you know, you touched on alcoholism before, and I've had massive struggles with alcohol and drug addiction most of my life. I'm pretty good on the drug side of it nowadays, but I still drink a bit, you know. And I think that I realised early on in the piece that the alcohol sort of just took that edge off, you know, and I've often joked saying alcohol's the lubrication that helps me slide through life. But it's a fairly true statement, you know. It just does help me get out and just take that edge off and, you know, meet new people, be in large crowds. I'm big crowds, I'm terrible. Like, I'm no good at a concert. Shit, no. Too many people in one place. It's like, I've got to get out. But doing this, it definitely has helped because it's got me out of my comfort zone, and I've done a bit of public speaking here and there, sports clubs and high schools. High school for me was a terrible place.
Yeah, that'd be scary,
evil, man. And I was like, shit, I'm going back to high school.
Yeah,
that's an evil place, you know. But thankfully, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Like, they haven't really laughed at me, so.
Yeah.
Haven't pulled my pants down or give me give me a royal flush or none of that crap, you know.
Oh, mate, could you imagine if you actually did that? That'd be fucking humiliating.
God, that's next level.
And also laughter. You got to laugh at it.
100%. And I have learned that over the years, you know, if you got to learn to take life with a pinch of salt and have a bit of a laugh at yourself. If you can't laugh at yourself, you're kind of buggered, really. You know, life is a serious sort of thing, and it can be a battleground, but at the same time, you can't really take it too seriously. Otherwise,
things just get too dark.
Yeah.
It just gets too dark.
Yep. And that's, Yeah, I've been in that dark place, and to the point where I was, not just locking myself in my house, I was locking myself in my bedroom in my house with the curtains shut, the doors locked, and you hear someone knock at the door, hear a car come down the driveway, and I turn all the things off, turn the lights off, shut the curtains. So that's no way to live, Sitting in the house, in a dark house, feeling lonely and sorry for yourself, but unable to go outside and be around people and lighten your mood, It's not a nice place to be.
What from that point? What was it that made you get out of that whole rut?
Good friends, I had good mates around me and sort of supporting me. And I got to a point one day I rang my mate up. I was like, mate, what are you up to? Can I come around? I need to come around. And they knew just by I never asked if I could come around. I'd just rock up, And yeah, come around. And just having a good chat to them this one day and something clicked. That one of them said something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but something just clicked. It was like, I need to go home. Because I was living on Kangaroo Island then at the time, South Australia. I'd been there for about 15 years. Obviously, I'm originally from WA, and I was like, I need to go home. I'd had my youngest son there full time for nearly 4 or 5 years, and he'd gone back to his mum over the last few years, and I was in New Zealand. So that was just before COVID hit. It's like couldn't see him. They locked all the borders, so I didn't see him for a while, and then he just didn't come back. And me and his mum, we don't get on that well. So there was some dramas there, and then I'm like, I just started going downhill, darker and darker, and hitting the drugs, hitting the piss. And we're just talking to my mates that day. Something clicked. I'm like, I need to go home. I need to be around family. So that was I think it was a Sunday. I hadn't been working much. I injured. I'd also been injured. I couldn't shear anymore. So that was, that was my passion for a lot of years. When your passion's taken away, it sort of hits you hard too. And I got on the phone to someone, one of my family. I was like, can I borrow some money? Buy me a ticket. I need to come home. 3 hours later, I had a plane ticket for Wednesday. That was the Sunday. So Wednesday, I was just gone. I was renting a house there. I just packed up. Didn't even do my dishes, man. Left them all in the sink, locked the house up, got on a plane and left. Came back about 3 months later. Kept paying my rent. I came back about 3 months later, packed up and, drove back to WA. 18 months after that, I was on a bike riding around Australia. So, yeah.
It's crazy how fast things can change, hey? So what was the reason you felt like you had to leave? Was it to get out of that?
I felt like I was in a rut. I was definitely in a rut. Like I say, I through injury, I was unable to shear anymore, and I'd been a career shearer for over 26 years, 25, 26 years. And that was my passion. I used to compete. There's, competitive world in shearing as well. So I used to get right into that when I was younger. And, I've shorn all over Australia, New Zealand, the UK. I've done a lot of travelling, met a lot of people. And when that's taken away, something like that, your passion, like being an elite athlete or whatever, you get that taken away through injury. It does things to your head, It's your whole world's changed. It's all falling apart. So into that, my son, I couldn't see my son anymore, and one of my best mates took his own life. Everything just sort of was compounding and just all hitting me at once. So things got really dark for me, and I didn't see it coming. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I did have a realisation one day. I'm like, shit, you got to stop this, mate, right? Because I was pushing the limits. I was hitting the drugs. I wasn't sleeping for days on end. I was hitting the grog. Still working, or trying to work, driving to work, just lining up trees. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's a nice tree. That's pretty solid, and just those dark thoughts slipping in, and. Yeah, not cool. It's a horrible way to. It's a horrible realization to come to. But I'm glad I came to it and realised that I've got to change. Something's got to give. Something needs to change. So thankfully I had good mates that helped me come to that realisation, and other good family and good people that could help me put it into play and do what I needed to do, be where I needed to be. So. Yeah, that Sunday, I think that Sunday saved my life, 100%. I don't think I'd be here otherwise.
Do you think you would have gone down that darker path of suicide if you didn't leave?
I would have done something stupid. I don't think I got the balls to actually make that step and do it myself, but I would push the boundaries and we'd get to that point, I'd do something stupid. I'd just go, there's a tree, or
Just compulsive.
drive off a jetty, or something dumb.
Yep.
Just a compulsive split-second decision that would change my life completely forever.
Does that scare you?
100% it scares me.
Fucking terrible thing to think about, hey?
It is. And those dark thoughts creep in, it's like, so where did that come from? Could be just a flash instant like that. It's like, shit, no, that's not good. It's not good.
And I also feel like if you're not in that right stable, like you could think that you're down, but there would be some type of like stable part of your brain where you're like, nah, that's done. But if you've just slightly gone past that point, that one thought and that one compulsive thought could just end it within a second.
100%.
You know what I mean? And it's
that's where that mix of drugs and alcohol and mental health is such a dangerous mix. It's scary because alcohol is a depressant anyway, and drugs. They're no good.
Yep.
They do bad things to your head. Not a part of my life I'm proud of. That whole path I took, but if it wasn't for that path I took as well, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing today either. I don't think so. Scary as it's been at times, I don't think I'd change much in my life, decisions wise. Probably like to probably take a few less substances and things, but like I say, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys today. I might be, I don't know, could be somewhere totally different. So it is what it is. You take it for what it is, and I'm just glad I've come out the other side, and I've got the opportunity to try and help others through their darkness, which is the mission I'm on at the moment.
And is that the Nah?
It is, yeah. You Are Not Alone ride. So that was gifted to me down in Tasmania when I was cycling around there. Like this one here, that's the QR code for donations link.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Old mate melted his mind as well, but it just doesn't scan, unfortunately.
Oh,
no.
Gutted, but that would have been cool. Right? How do I donate? Just bang. I think it probably needed, in hindsight, to be on a bit of a flatter area of skin, maybe a little smaller. It's a bit too much curvature, I think. My big guns.
I really want to whip out my phone and just try and scan it.
Everyone's tried. It hasn't quite worked. The only thing I haven't tried is putting her under a piece of glass and maybe flatten her out. Yeah. I've been out in the sun. I've sort of darkened up a wee bit over the...
I was going to say, you're tan. I mean, you're fucking
I actually had an Aboriginal fella down in Wagen at the servo. He asked me if I was Aboriginal. I'm like, nah, I've just been out in the sun a fair every day. He thought we might have been related. I'm not sure.
Man. Yeah. QR code as a tattoo, that's fucking brilliant.
I can't imagine they would work very well. And if they did, not for very long.
Yeah, I have read about them working before, but it does definitely need to be on a flat area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As flat the thing with ink is ink. It spreads, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So after time, especially if the lines are close, I would imagine it will be a very limited time thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not about it working, is it? It's the message behind it, which I think is awesome.
Yeah,
I think that's such a good idea.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool.
And before we keep going, so that QR code, that donation thing is active now.
It is, yeah.
So where can people go to donate?
On my Facebook page, Doin It For Dippa, there is, in the featured section at the top of that, there's a link to the donations page there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And that's a safe, secure link set up by the Breakthrough Foundation.
Yep.
So the money goes straight to them.
So
I don't touch it.
I'll chuck all that in the links.
Yeah, nice one.
That's fucking wicked.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
One thing that I want to touch on is you mentioned wanting more services in rural areas. What are people out there actually missing when it comes to mental health in those isolated sections?
Well, I know one thing I found when I was on Kangaroo Island going through my issues, they had good services there, but they didn't seem to have enough staff, you know, and the ladies I spoke to two separate ladies, and it was easy to tell they were overworked, they were tired, and just the body language, and I felt like they didn't want to be there. They're tired. They was, you know, yawning, and when you're going to see someone for help, you sort of, it's not the feeling you want to get from. You want to feel like they're engaged and they actually want to help and listen, you know. I think they need more staffing, and also some of the remote areas don't have anything, you know. I was talking to someone, I went to Headspace here in Geraldton on last Wednesday when I first got here, and they were saying like the outer areas, you know, say like Jurien Bay, Lancelin, Northampton and that, they don't necessarily have so much services there. So if they want a counselling session or whatever, they got to drive down here and, you know, say farmers, people with kids, people working that, they don't necessarily have the time to do that. Come drive all that way for an hour session and drive back. So quite often, you know, it might not get done, you know. So I was talking to them and they were getting into doing visiting sessions, you know, calling out to those smaller communities and stuff and bringing the services to them rather than them having to travel to where the services are, which I think is a great thing. But yeah, you know, the cities, they've got, you know, they've got all the services they need there. You know, there's plenty of people, but I think, yeah, remote areas definitely need something more.
I definitely agree.
The farming community, you know, even in the shearing industry, I've noticed there's a lot of people take their own life. And farming industry, you know, they're just at the beck and call of the bloody weather and the government, really. I mean, you get droughts, you get fires, and now they got this fuel excise. They can't get diesel, can't get fertilisers. It's crazy. So, you know, there's a lot of pressure on people like that. And in those remote areas, they need help. They need access to these services.
Absolutely, they do.
Yeah.
What do you think about like telehealth services, remote services? Do you find them suitable, or do they miss the mark?
I think they're a good thing, yeah. You know, I've spoken to people about these. Myself personally, I think I'd rather sit down like we are now and have face-to-face. You know, a bit of body language, you can pick up a bit more. It's more of a personal setting, whereas telehealth, I didn't find, you know, it's a bit impersonal. I mean, yeah, you can still see their face and that. It's a good thing. And if you've got no access to anything else, you know, bloody oath, it's awesome. Some people prefer it rather than going in and sitting across the table from someone. They feel less pressured, I think. But so I guess that's all a personal preference too, and how you feel yourself. At the end of the day, as long as the person that needs help feels comfortable in that setting, that's half the battle won. Because no one's going to open up if they don't feel comfortable. So
yeah,
I think there's pros and cons to both, you know, definitely. Yeah.
Along your ways, have you ever met anyone in the rural sections where they've come to you and gone, yo, what you're doing is sick, I'm struggling with this, and spoken to you about their story?
Yeah, mate. At the end of the day, it's quite amazing how much people will open up to an absolute stranger, more so than, say, one of their mates at work or their brother-in-law or their, you know. You've seen my bike when I rode in and that, you know, the replica sort of German helmet. It's you see it riding down the road, you're like, going to have a look, aren't you? Like, have a look at this bloke.
Yeah.
So,
especially out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Exactly, you know,
Yeah.
like quite a few times I've been out in the middle of bumfuck. I've been riding 80 Ks or 100 Ks since the last town, and you might pull in at lunchtime and out the front of the, you know, beer garden at the pub or something, and everyone's looking at you. It's like, this is the spot. I wander in, you know, take my shoes off, take the silly hat off and hobble on in. Usually got a bit of a hobble up by a few Ks, you know, and grab a beer, sit down outside, and it doesn't take long. The questions start. You see them looking at you like, someone asks soon enough, like, mate, what are you up to? Where you come from on that
What the fuck
thing?
are you doing? Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's like, I start telling them what I'm up to and why, and that just opens the gates for a conversation, you know, and it's quite a beautiful thing, really.
Yeah.
That just how comfortable and how easily people open up after that once I tell them what I'm up to. It's
Yeah.
it blew me away when I first started doing it, that's for sure.
I guess it's hard because you did say it's amazing how some people will open up to randoms rather than like their workmates and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's because like as soon as you go, oh, I'm riding around Australia for mental health, they go, oh, fuck, this dude actually cares about mental health. As where on a work site, they don't know what their mate thinks. So if they do open up, their mate could just go, shut the fuck up or get back to work or whatever.
Yeah.
Then
toughen up, princess.
Yeah.
It's
so
fear
then,
of what is it, like
rejection?
rumors being spread and like the
Yeah.
judgment you will receive constantly.
Yeah,
Whereas if it's a no one, you're never going to see him again. Like there's
That's right. Yeah.
there's no like downfall of that essentially.
Yeah, that's
like
right,
that's not going to come back around. That's like small towns. You obviously get the stigma of that guy's been going there. And small towns, it spreads quick. Like there's nothing you can do about it.
That small town mentality, it's a bit shit at times. It's yes, but that's having these conversations is slowly changing people's mindsets. One thing I've noticed, always said, like us older fellas, it's kind of hard to reprogram something rather than program it. So that's getting these younger generations to think about it early. It's much easier to, for want of better words, to program them than to reprogram us old fellas.
and if you try and tell some old fella to do it, he'll probably punch you in the fucking head and tell you to piss off.
Yeah. Go away, fairy.
Yeah.
Put your tutu on. Get back to work. But I have noticed that change in the younger generation. Like my eldest lad, he's 25, and him and his cousins and all my nieces and nephews, they're so much better at checking on their mates and giving their mates a hug, telling them they love them. It's not gay. It's not wussy. It's
definitely, absolutely is not gay.
Grab them on the ass maybe if they push back. It's a bit weird, but
that's right.
It's
kiss on the cheek here and there.
Everyone enjoys that a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. So that's just checking on your mates. It's not hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just because the mate says, yeah, I'm good, I'm going right. Yeah, here you go. No. How you really going, mate? That double back, that recheck, especially if you have got concerns about them, a lot of people are like, yeah, how you going, mate? Yeah, I'm good. Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, what up? Yeah, let's go for a beer.
Yep. They'll just skip past the
yeah, because they've got the answer they wanted to hear.
Yep.
But the answer it might not always be what you want to hear, but it's probably an important answer to get out of.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. Yeah, it's not always easy conversations, but it's conversations that are necessary. That's for sure.
Yeah, that definitely need to be had as well.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have the answer that they need, even just being an ear for someone is all they need.
You don't have to say anything, just sit there and listen.
Yep.
There's a lot of power in that.
Absolutely.
Just to sit and listen and just let someone air their emotions, air their feelings.
Yep.
They're not looking for an answer. They're just looking to be heard.
No. And quite often saying it out loud, you come up with your own answer or you just, rather than sitting there thinking about it in your own head, echoing, rolling over, ruminating.
Yep.
It's the definition of thinking out loud, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's a powerful thing.
It is.
So I want to jump back to, because you lost 2 people.
A few. Yeah.
How did that experience shape you? Because I know I've lost, not from suicide, but like my nana and pop, and they were very, very close to me.
Yeah.
How did losing those 2 people, like that obviously opened up your mind to mental health needs to fucking change.
Yeah.
But you as a person, how did you going through that experience, how did that change you?
Yeah, well, like I say, when I lost my uncle, he was like a father to me, really. I lived with him for years, took me under his wing. I got angry. I didn't understand it, and I sort of stayed angry for a fair while about it. I was like, oh, you coward, how could you do that? You left your kids, your grandkids, blah, blah, blah. And I just sort of never really got past that. And then when my mate did it, there was a lot more talk about it through other mates. And a few mates noticed that I was going downhill, and so there was conversations had and the Breakthrough Foundation, they actually, because it was not long after the big fires on Kangaroo Island, half the island burnt, so over 80 houses lost, and there's a lot of people struggling in the farming sector and even, just everyone was struggling. So the Breakthrough Foundation, they came and they were doing a few workshops and giving people tools, how to manage and deal with mental health. And so I started, understanding a bit more about things and asking myself questions, I guess. And I think I'm never really comfortable with saying this, but I think losing my mate Dippa, in some way, it saved my life. You know what I mean? I went dark and I nearly lost myself, but it triggered something inside of me to want to look deeper and understand more, I guess. So in doing that and in taking that path, even after we did the shearathon and I was running this mental health support group, Doing It For Dippa, I was still very dark and struggling a lot, But it definitely helped through the group, through talking to people, helping other people. It sort of gave me the kick in the ass I needed to get out of my rut, I think. Just sad it took losing a mate for that to happen, So I guess that's why I fucking, excuse me.
No,
I struggled.
I
saw the swear jar. I wasn't sure how much it was going to cost me.
There's some coins over there just in case.
Oh, yeah, Roger. Yeah, sweet. Oh, I'll just empty that jar into that one. But yeah, I can't even remember where I was going now. But yeah, it definitely gave me the kick in the ass that I needed to get out of my hole, to do something to save my own self, Yeah. Yes, I am.
As shit as it is, I don't, you may not know, and we definitely don't know, but the amount of lives that you have potentially saved from losing one mate and going through all that heartbreak and experience and all that, we will never know if we have helped someone. You will never know if but you could have just helped one person, you could have helped 10, 20, 30.
That ripple effect is amazing.
So out of that, what did you say, 2,700 people?
Yeah.
You could have helped 100 people from unfortunately going through that shit experience.
And it's taken me a bit to realise that, but I'm slowly realising, and not so much realising, accepting that realisation, just because I think I mentioned to you before we started the podcast, I get quite a few messages from people I've never even met, just thanking me for what I'm doing, and that it's helped them through their struggles. So many people watch my little videos daily, and to myself, I think, rambling here. I'm rambling. I'm going to go. I still feel like a bit of a dickhead, getting on front of the camera and just talking to myself. It's like took me a lot to get used to that, and I don't think I ever will get used to it. But some of the ramblings I come out with, obviously people relate to it. So, when you get people messaging, you don't know, thanking you for something you're doing, how can you walk away from that? I can't stop it. It's a no-brainer for me. I just got to keep going.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple, yeah.
It's a very big emotional thing, I think.
Massive. And I've been on some emotional roller coasters, It's it's definitely taken me places. Ups and downs, just like riding down the highway, Lots of ups and downs. Yeah.
We got something to look forward to. It gets a bit flatter up north.
Yeah.
That's true.
I conquered Tassie, so I surely I can do a fair bit more.
Yeah, I guess it'll be longer stretches without towns.
Yeah. I don't mind that either. It gives me gets a few more Ks under my belt. When there's more towns around, I tend to stop more often and have a yak to people, pull into coffee shops and hotels and sporting clubs, whatever. Try and fight. Like this morning, I went caught up with Mr. Perfect, the community barbecues. He gets blokes out and about talking to each other. So that was pretty good to be involved in that this morning. Good bunch of guys. It's only just started in Geraldton here.
Mr. Perfect.
Yes. I think he said he's been going for 2, maybe 3 months. Once a month event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday of every month.
Yes. Sunday, I think.
I think we definitely got to.
Sunday, yes, you are correct.
Yeah. No, that's wicked.
Yes, but it's a great initiative. I think old mate was saying it started in Melbourne. I first saw them popping up down around Perth before I started on the ride. So it's a good thing. They're all around the place.
In your messages when we were messaging first off, there was something that caught my eye, and it was you said that you're just a normal bloke.
Yeah.
And
well, I think, as normal can be.
Yeah.
Define normal.
Like as in just like you're just a normal dude that just is living life, and you've been through like heartbreak and experiences and all that type of stuff, you know, losing friends and stuff. Why is that message that you're just a normal bloke so important?
Well, I think most people that do something like this, what I'm doing, you know, especially riding a bike or you know, running or whatever they do, they're kind of athletic to start with. I mean, I was a shearer for over 25 years. That takes a fair bit of athleticism itself. But, man, I hadn't ridden a push bike since I was about 15, and I certainly hadn't ridden one like this. And I think that's just what makes me a bit more relatable to people as well. You know, I'm just like, I swear, I curse, like I drink. You know, I'd just be one of the lads you'd meet down the pub and talk a bit of shit with, you know. And I just one day after a few beers got an idea of getting the bike and riding around Australia, and that's when the boys told me I couldn't. That's just what I went and did, you know. So, and I think when I tell that story, people usually laugh at it. It's like, yeah, all right, good on you, mate. Hold my beer, yeah, sweet. And they like that sort of side of it, I think. And yeah, it's just that, you know, I suppose a bit of an Aussie larrikin, you know. People appreciate a bit of an Aussie lad, you know, just out there having a crack.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah. And that's, you know, like I said, my mates told me I couldn't do it. You ain't do that. You're full of it. And that's just,
it's fuel to the fire.
That is all the motivation I need, mate. I've always been a person like, you can't do that. It's like, oh, okay.
It's the true Aussie way, isn't it? You wouldn't.
I'll be back in 5. Yeah, so, you know, it's, yeah. And those doubters, they're still following along today.
They always will.
Urging me on. Come on, mate, you got this, you know. So it's it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I'm going to jump to the not so serious side of things.
Yeah, sweet.
You said shearing for 25 years, 26 years, something like
around that. Yeah, that's
a long time.
Yeah.
Would you consider that one of the hardest trades?
Yeah, shit's all over a mechanic, mate. Apparently the mechanics, I heard something about this. It's the best trade around, I think you said, something along those lines.
Shit don't stink, right?
Yeah, mate, yeah, come on. I've been in the toilet after a mechanic. It's pretty nasty. There's grease everywhere.
I fucking love that. Absolutely
Would
perfect.
you say we would struggle trying shearing?
Oh, mate, anyone that hasn't done it would struggle. I mean, I'm not a mechanic's arsehole. Like, if as a mechanic I'd make a good wrecker, I'll give you a lot of work, you know. But, you know, it's like anything, you know. If I try my hand at electrics, I'd probably burn myself, fry myself, you know. So, you know, everyone's got to start somewhere. It is hard work, but you do, after repetition, you know, you get used to it. You do get better at it. But, yeah, it does take some time. And it does bloody hurt. So you got to, it's that pain barrier sort of, you know. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, well, I started in the shearing sheds at 15. And after my first week, just as a shed hand rouse about picking up the wool, sweeping the floors, you know, like, fuck this, I'm not coming back. I could hardly walk, mate. No way am I coming back next week. And up until then, my biggest check for a week had been like $250. Old mate hands me a check for $650 Friday afternoon. I'm like, see you Friday, see you Monday, mate. I'll be bright and early. And that was it, mate. You know, I got taste for the money, and yeah, I was away. Once I proved myself, the boys got, you know, you get a bit more recognition, and they look after you a bit more. So it's quite an accepting industry. There's people from all walks of life. One thing I did like about the shearing industry is dickheads soon get sorted out, and everyone's accepted, you know, everyone. Yep. Yeah.
So what, because you said that you've done shearing all over the world?
Not all over the world. I've shot all over Australia, most states in Australia.
And it was New Zealand and UK,
I saw in the UK and New Zealand, yeah.
So what was it about the competitive side of shearing that like locked you into doing it? Was it like, oh, I can shear a fucking sheep in like 30 seconds?
Yeah, well, it's not just about shearing them fast. You got to be clean and not cut them and that as well, you know, less cuts and try and get all the wool off in one length. And there's a bit of an art to it. But every day at work is a competition. You know, you want to be quicker than the bloke next to you. Next to you there, you know.
Testosterone.
So, yeah, mate. It's a dick thing. Yeah, straight up. So, you know, I suppose, you know, you go in the pub, you got the urinals, you know, get the little ones down here. It'd start off a little way, it'd be the mechanic's urinal, then it'd be like the builder's urinal, then the shearer's urinal's up here, you know. So, sorry, mate, I just had to straight up.
No, trust me. Where would you put a floor in this?
A floor?
Floor layer.
A floor layer? Well, someone's got to put the floor down for us to shear sheep on. So, you know, they are important.
So without us, you guys aren't doing shit.
I always thought they were all lesbians, like just tongue and groove.
I can say that I'm on my knees a fair bit.
Yeah,
and
Roger.
It's not for the things that you think it is.
Okay, a lot of splinters though, I'd imagine.
A lot of what?
Splinters.
No.
In the knees, no?
No, knee pads.
Yes.
I'm smart, mate. I'm smart.
Yeah.
No, surprisingly, floor laying is quite a hard trade on your body.
It would be, yeah. Knees and back and that.
Right.
Yeah.
My hip is fucking cooked.
Yeah.
And he's not even a floor layer, but he can't bend for shit. And that's just a natural thing.
Mechanic, mate.
They don't bend. I've got a lot of bills from mechanics. There's no bend there at all. No give whatsoever.
Yeah, no, flooring's fucking hard, man. But like we've spoken, we actually had an ex-shearer on. Unfortunately, the episode didn't come out due to our stupidity. We didn't have Toomey here. And we did that episode, I think, twice. And both times we failed. Even he was saying that it was like a lot of shearers, like you said, a lot of the dickheads get fucking like put out. Also one of the other things that not many people know is that, I don't know if you did, but he was saying that a lot of shearers also get addicted to substances and stuff as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, mate, I used to get on the gear for years, mate. A long time, and that you know, it started off recreational, and then I realised that sort of there's a thing that shuts your head up as well when you're doing that, and then there's also the pain, like, a lot of pain. So you know, it helps with that, drugs and alcohol, but then also, you know, after years of abuse, it creates a lot of pain and mental anguish as well. So yes, unfortunately, there is a massive amount of that in the shearing industry. It's getting cleaned up nowadays a bit. The industry is getting more and more professional all the time. Testing is coming into it, and workplace health and safety is coming into a lot more, because it has been a bit of an archaic industry when it comes to OH&S side of things. So, but it's slowly getting cleaned up, you know. Dangers, because it can be, you know, you got a handpiece in your hand with 13 razor sharp teeth spinning it. I think it's like 4,500 revs at the handpiece in your hand. All it takes, you get that kicked out of your hand, and you know, it can quite easily.
Is it not like this
probably a sheep hairdresser?
This is probably super good. I genuinely thought it was like a head clippers, but just
it's
like
same principle, similar principle,
okay.
But the teeth, you know, on your hair clippers, the teeth are quite close together. There's not much gap.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a gap like that in between the teeth, sort of thing. There's 13 of them about this wide.
Yeah.
And there's a cutter on top with four teeth that go like that.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, shoof across the top like that.
Yeah.
It's quite easy to cut off nipples, ears, pizzles, like a ram tick. You know, if it gets in the way, it comes off. Yeah. So you got to exercise some caution. You know, there was a few years ago, there was a young fella in South Australia out near Streaky Bay. He actually got killed. A sheep kicked the handpiece and it went up and got him in the jugular, and he bled out on the floor there and then in the shearing shed. So,
fuck.
Jesus.
Yeah, man, bad things can happen really quickly. So, you know, it's good to see a bit of OH&S coming in and drug testing and that, and because that, you know, those sorts of things play a big part of it.
Bro, that's fucking wild.
It's pretty hectic. Yeah. Mate of mine, he's been going through work cover for 3.5 years now. He was actually one of my drivers in South Australia. Sheep kicked and he cut his bicep in half.
Are they that sharp that they'll just?
They're very sharp. Very sharp. Yeah. I wish I had some. I haven't even got my bus here, but I'd be able to show you. But yeah, they're pretty sharp. And like I say, there's 4,500 revs at the handpiece itself. Yeah. So that's
fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. Yeah.
How many nipples have you cut off?
I have some.
So a few.
I've got a wee box, a bit like Ed Gein, you know.
It's just the old spare parts.
Yeah, a few nipples and noses and things like that.
Fuck me, yeah. Right. I honestly didn't think like they were like. I kind of knew that they were sharp to cut through, especially how quick you guys goes.
Yeah, well, that's right. You know, like I think the record was something like 800 and something sheep or something. You know, but
that's your record.
No.
Oh, right.
My best day was just under 400.
Yeah,
so you know that's a lot of sheep. You know, it's that's a lot of meat, a lot of weight to drag across the floor as well.
Yeah.
Because you got to catch them, wrestle them, and drag them out. You know, some are pretty bloody heavy. So you know it takes its tolls, and you're moving that quick with something that dangerous. It does take a fair bit of training. So it's not it takes a bit of skill to not kill them. You know.
I was watching a video. This was on like barrel making, but like one of the things that he said was like he has been doing his trade for so long, and it got like he was so cautious about like when he's trimming the wood or whatever the fuck he calls it, and he's never cut himself until the day where he got a little bit too confident, and it just didn't click, and then he chopped his whole pinky finger off, and it just went straight through it. And he's just like, those are the days that you need to remember, because if you don't, then shit goes wrong.
Yeah.
And
it's the most dangerous thing is to become complacent in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just because you've done it a million times.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't pay to drift off in your head. You just keep focused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's fucking absolutely wild.
I'd say we're nearing on the end of our episode. We've been rambling a fair bit, which is it's good. You're a man with a lot of stories and doing a good cause.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We asked this question all our guests just because we want to get a little insight.
Yeah.
What are like 5 things you do that improve your mood? Just for you personally. It can be anything. The list is long.
Well, you met me little Kelpie out there, Lucky. I like Tate. She's my best mate. Spend a bit of time with her. I mean, she triggers me. She pushes me buttons. She's cheeky. She talks back, but she's probably the best mate I've ever had.
Kelpies normally do that.
Oh, yeah. She's smart mouth little bugger.
I wasn't sure what we were talking about for a second. A dog.
Yeah, that little red one out there.
Oh, I didn't see her on the way in.
She's tied up to old mates. You.
Oh.
Another thing, hello, laughing. I write a bit of poetry.
Oh.
And that's something fairly recent. I started doing it just before I started on this ride. So that helps me a lot, make sense of things in my head. So a lot of them are focused on mental health and the demons I deal with and the drugs and the alcohol and things like that. So, but it does help me make sense of a lot of things in my head. So, and I've started sharing some of those with my group on Facebook, and I've had to start warning people that I'm okay. It's just how I process things. And because after a couple of them I put up, and people are like, I get all these messages. Are you okay? What's the matter? What's going on? It's just how my brain works. It's just how it helps me process stuff.
The fact that you also have that support too is amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, mate. I'm bloody lucky with that. Yeah. Yeah. So I do turn to that. I've got some pretty special people. If I'm just having a shit day, I'll ring this bugger up.
Yeah.
It might be one of the boys. I'll ring him up and shits to him, which will make me feel better. I'll just ring one of my mates. Just have a yarn about anything. You know, it doesn't have to be heavy. And that bike, surprisingly enough, exercising, you know, like just getting out there, burning a bit of energy. That's so good for your mental health. And being on that bike, I've noticed when I've had times where I've got to wait for a driver, or I've been stuck somewhere through weather or whatever, I start getting a bit inside my own head. I was like, get on the bike, mate. Just get out there, ride the bike past too, whatever. Take the dog for a run. That's it's good just to get out there and just look around and going out, you know, on the foreshore here. Stop and have a chat to people with dogs, you know. Dogs always got to sniff each other's bums. So, you know, you get out there and let the dogs have a bit of a bum sniff and you end up talking to the owners and that. That's pretty good. I don't know, what else?
You got 2 more.
2 more. He's over there.
He's it's almost as bad as JP's jokes.
Most of the to me jokes that could ever exist, but that was a new one.
Oh,
that was good.
Come on. Geez,
That
I
was
don't know.
quick too.
Yeah. It took me a second. I was like, hang on.
He's doing these ones.
Just came in. Geez, I don't know. What else?
Well, while you're thinking of those, I have been wanting to ask this question. I know that's normally the last question, but when you're out there and you're in the middle of literally bumfuck, there would have obviously been a point where you're just like, fuck this, I don't want to keep going.
There's been a few.
What's the one thing that keeps you going?
I quite often I think about my mate Dippa. But he was a footy man through and through, local footy, Kangaroo Island. He played for the Dudley Eagles, and every time when he passed, his two sons were in the A grade semi-final, and it'd been raining all day, and when that game started, the oval, just over the oval, big sky opened up, blue skies just over the oval, and there was one big eagle, wedge-tail, just circling the oval for the whole game. And that's me, mate. That's the bro Dipper, you know. And quite often when I don't know how it works, but when I'm having struggles, I'm going up a big-ass mountain in Tassie or something, I look up and there's a bloody eagle circling around. I'm like, brother, you're here.
He's there with you.
Yeah. You know, that happens more times than I can remember. It's little things like that. Or, you know, a bit of banter over the two-way with whoever's driving. Depends on who's driving. It's funnily enough, I had my ex-missus, my eldest son's mum, she drove for me for one day at the early stages, and I wasn't exactly fit then. It was probably about the fourth day in. And we're going up a bit of a hill. She got on the two-way. She says, "Oi," I won't tell you exactly what she said. "Oi, if I got to change down into first gear, I'm fucking running you over." You got no idea how motivating it is to hear your ex-missus say that, mate. I found a couple more coals. I steamed up that hill. Yeah. So, you know, it's little things like that's quite motivating, you know, bit of banter. But yes, it just in the back of my head, just thinking about all the people behind me and the messages I get, and, you know, maybe the eagle in the sky, or there's a lot of things that motivate me. Either that, or if it gets real bad, I generally think back to that night with a few cans and my mates saying, "You're full of shit."
Yeah.
Righto. Off
Can't
you go,
fucking
mate.
give up now. Fuck this dog. Yeah.
Damn you guys, I'm not going to let you beat me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
100%.
Well, you've got two more, mate. Two more.
Shit.
And then we'll wrap her up.
Yeah, mate. Just beaches, water, rivers. You know, I love that. I love getting out, get the shoes off, get outside. You know, there's something to be said for walking around with no shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, grounding, they call it. You know,
grounding
it's a
yourself.
massive thing. You know, you know, you can't beat it. I love gardening, but being on the road, I don't get much of a chance to garden. I've always had a veggie garden. If I've been stable somewhere, always had a veggie garden. Get out there, stand there with a hose, get your hands in the dirt.
Yep.
Yeah, there's something therapeutic about that. That's definitely a good one. Always been a fave.
I know. It's not therapeutic when you're unloading fucking like 5 tons of dirt out of your backyard. That's what I've been doing the last few days.
Yeah, righto.
Fucking bullshit. But I mean, mind you, it is kind of my fault. I kind of let it get shit. And
Yeah.
So it had to be done, and it was my missus told me, "You got to do this," so I've done it.
Yeah. Happy life.
That's right. Yep. Now I get to go home and do more stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Now you've cleared a space. I've got an idea.
Well, that was her yesterday. I think we should put a garden here and like maybe build another retaining wall. Like, fucking let me finish this job first.
Yeah. And a nice deck over there. Seems how you're good at flooring.
Yeah. Well, mate, I just want to thank you for coming on. It has genuinely been absolutely amazing to hear your story, and you talk about the things that you've been through. And
mate, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and just share my story and, you know, get what I'm up to out to a bit of a wider audience, you know.
Yep.
It's everything helps, mate. Everything helps.
Absolutely, it does. If you guys want to jump over to Lenny's Facebook page, give it a follow. Say, I don't know, shearers are gay or something like that. That'd be awesome. And then, just give this absolutely amazing bloke some love, because what he's doing, not many people could do. I mean, I definitely couldn't, not that long.
People said I couldn't too, brother. But
yeah,
here
true.
we are.
Very,
Here we
very
are.
true.
No, mate. No, you couldn't do it. There's no way you could do it.
Mate, I'm going to be cycling fucking in front of you.
No chance, mate. Not a snowball's hope in hell.
Yeah, and also jump over to all of our forms of social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that type of stuff. All the links are below, and Lenny's Facebook page is also below. Thank you guys for listening.
Appreciate it, legends. Thanks heaps. Love your work.
Awesome. Cheers, Lenny.
Peace.
Bye.
Cheers.